Hey, what's up, everybody? Zeal Brothers here once again. I want to make another video about cancel culture. I made a video about Dave Chappelle and how a lot of people are threatening him. And it turns out that a lot of groups are threatening and trying to remove his videos from Netflix. And it turns out the lady who is trying to remove his video from Netflix is one of the writers of the show Dear White People, and she's white. So this isn't created some backlash because people are wondering why a white lady is trying to get a black dude canceled. But let's just talk about cancel culture, right? Because cancel culture is pushing the people who try to protect those cultures. They're putting those cultures they're trying to protect back. And I'll tell you why. You can't improve without criticism. I'm an artist. I love art. And when I create art, one of the ways that I get better is by criticizing my own self, right? And so what I like to do is I like to create something and then I like to critique it to death. And that's the only way to get better, right? You critique it, you keep on looking at it, you keep on looking at what you can improve. And if you do that, you will continue to get better. And as you do that, your skill will increase, and then you'll start to see more things you can improve. And that process is continuing. And at the end, what you hope is that you'll have a great level of creativity and art and polish to what you're doing so that the audience will enjoy your art. Without criticism, you can't improve. Now, what does cancel culture do? Cancel culture insulates groups from criticism. The biggest, most protected group right now is the transgendered movement, right? So people who are choosing and thinking that they can choose to change their gender whenever they want to. People who belong to that camp believe that they cannot be criticized and that viewpoint can't be criticized. But that also means that viewpoint can't move forward because they can't be honed. The arguments that they have can't be honed. Now, I'll tell you just straight up, every argument that I've heard that has been pro-transgender has been very weak. So weak that it is easily destroyed. But I know why. Because they never face any real opposition. If you want to get canceled, if you want people to fire you, if you want something like that to happen, the easiest way you can do is to say transgendered or something that's homosexuality is wrong or a sin. And if you do that, if you say that, you immediately become a target. And because they know that any critic will immediately become a target, they don't have to care about criticism. They don't have to hone their argument because their argument will stand on its own. It's assumed to be right. It is amazing to me that if you look at a lot of the people who are the biggest benefactors of cancel culture, the homosexual movement, the transgender movement, some aspects of racist movements, right, civil rights movements, they are ones who would quickly critique blind faith in the Christian faith, right? So they would say, man, I can't believe you believe in this God. You don't even question it. You have a book that is written by a desert tribe thousands and thousands of years ago, and you believe that without any self-criticism, no critique to it. You look at the contradictory claims within, and you never question anything that you see. You got people preaching it that are hypocrites. You never question any of that stuff. And here's the thing. They would critique if I had blind faith. Now, to counter their arguments, I don't have blind faith. I have informed faith. And what I mean by informed faith is I'm learned. I know what my religion is about. I know the arguments for and against it. And I've examined those and found that it still be true. I've looked at the claims that people say is contradictory, and I've solved those problems. So people who say the Bible is contradictory, they really have not proven anything to me. I have yet to find something that's contradictory within the scriptures. So I say all that just to say that I understand where they're coming from, even if I disagree with their conclusions. But the fact that people are able to make those arguments made me examine my faith. It made my faith better. But they would look at my faith, and if I had blind faith, they would critique that, but turn that around on them. And there is a blind faith in the morality of the transgender and homosexual movement that is unquestioned. Unquestioned in the media, but not unquestioned in people's homes. And so what we have is a idea that is not questioned in public, but many people question it in private. And that idea is weak. It's on shaky ground. Just because everybody in the media accepts it to be true does not mean that the general public accepts it to be true. So, cancel culture is setting you back. Cancel culture is not only setting the transgender and the homosexual movement back, it is setting the civil rights movement back. Let's be very frank. Cancel culture is hurting the black community the most. Because we have lots of problems in our community, and instead of addressing that, we would shift the blame to racism. And don't get me wrong, racism does have its place, right? We can look and say that some racist policies and some racist attitudes have hurt us. That's undeniable. But the position that we're in now is not largely due to racism. It's largely due to an irresponsible sexual behavior that has created a destruction of the black family. And without a family, of course, you can't have a civilization that succeeds and moves forward. And when you talk about a family as the functional movement, the building block of any community, how, looking at that, can you therefore look at the homosexual and transgender movement as a positive for any community other than their own? So I'll bring that argument to you. Maybe I get canceled. Maybe I don't. But I'm still going to say the truth, whether people accept it or not. And for you that want to cancel, maybe you need to take a look in the mirror and examine your own arguments, because I see a lot of holes in them. And maybe if you turn around and looked at those, you'd have a better position.